Hey friends, Dr. Nixon here. Today we're going to tackle cortisol, the stress hormone. We all feel it, we've all experienced it. If you've ever felt triggered or in fight or flight mode, it can literally be affecting your hormones and not necessarily in a good way. It's usually chronic cortisol, chronic stress, whether it's from life or relationships or stress in marriage or it's at work with your boss or whatever it might be. Cortisol, when it stays elevated, creates collateral damage on the rest of your hormones. I'm going to walk you through the science, but most importantly, I'm going to walk you through how to heal, how to help it, how to regulate fight or flight back into rest and digest. Not how to just get rid of your cortisol forever, but how to manage it, mitigate it, and put it on the right trajectory to help you feel amazing. When cortisol is functioning how it's supposed to, your energy is up, you sleep fantastic, your circadian rhythm is on point. But when cortisol is going haywire, it affects every single hormone cascade in your body, in men and women. Today, we're going to focus a lot on the female cycle and how cortisol damages it. It decreases progesterone, it increases estrogen. That means it increases weight gain around the midsection, around the face area. If it converts to testosterone, it can cause skin issues, things like acne. It decreases progesterone. This is the number one factor that I see in patients where it causes anxiety. So now you're in a vicious cycle. We're going to walk through all of it. More importantly, I'm going to help you guys get out of it. We walk patients through this all the time of not just, hey, here's what's going on, and not just to diagnose you or tell you here's what's messed up, but more importantly, how to heal, how to get better. We believe that God created your body to heal and created to function. So I'm going to walk you guys through how to practically do that. Okay. So this is, again, a little bit of what happens when you're in fight or flight mode. If you've been there, you're like, yeah, I got it. I feel tired and wired all at the same time. I wake up in the middle of sleep and I think I'm in a deep REM or deep sleep, but I just wake up instantly. I'm startled. Even if I sleep 6 or 7 hours, I wake up and I go to the bathroom and my brain instantly starts going. And it jumps to things, finances, family, the big meeting I have coming up later that day, and I can't shut it off. And then if that's happening, you wake up, you go through your day, and you're feeling okay, and then boom, dinner time, I'm crushed. My energy is down. There's no desire even for connection or marriage, even intimacy. There's nothing left in the tank. If you're working on big projects, your brain clarity and mental clarity can feel off. It's like, man, I know that I can fire on a higher cylinder than this, but I don't know why I'm not. These are just some of the warning signs and symptoms of chronically elevated cortisol. So here's where it gets. Let me make this a little bigger for you. I want you to see this. Here's where it starts becoming a problem. So I'm going to show you a cycle here in a second. But one of the things that happens with elevated cortisol is it will begin to increase estrogen, which will lower progesterone. Let me show you this real quick. All right, so two kids sitting on a seesaw. This is estrogen and this is progesterone. When cortisol goes up, estrogen goes up with it. So if estrogen goes up, progesterone goes what? Down. Progesterone does many things in your body. It increases circulation, increases vasodilation, but most importantly, it is part of your calming part of your nervous system. It works on GABA receptors in your brain. It's the same thing that Xanax does, but this one does it naturally. And so it works there to help create calm or peace, which would then improve your sleep quality. It would also improve your ability to respond instead of react. And I'm guilty of this. I've been here. I have lived in excess cortisol and high cortisol for a long time. As a business owner, an entrepreneur, a high D, Enneagram 3, I like to win and achieve and succeed. Cortisol feels great until it doesn't. Remember, cortisol is a protective mechanism. It's fight or flight mode. So if you're camping and you see a bear, you want cortisol because then you would run really quickly. Okay? But what happens if that's like life or your business or you're an entrepreneur or you're a mom and you're trying to juggle all the things and all the kiddos in school and get them there on time and make dinner and take care of your home and all the different things and learn how to make sourdough, right? All the different things. Elevated cortisol feels really good until it doesn't. And these are some of the beginning warning signs of, hey, this is not good. So chronic stress. So here comes low progesterone. Anxiety starts coming up. Restless sleep. Even if you're getting 6 or 7 hours, they're not restful. Now here comes mood swings. You're more irritable. It's harder to handle stress. The week leading up to your cycle is where you start to really see even more what we would traditionally refer to as maybe PMS symptoms, right? So then estrogen, remember the kid on the other side of the seesaw. So again, let me show you this, right? So remember I said estrogen went up. So estrogen going up causes its own issues, right? And so now estrogen is a growth hormone. So it makes things grow. What does it make grow? One of the things it makes grow is fat cells. So now here comes weight gain right through the midsection. Heavier periods, maybe more regular periods, maybe more clotting, maybe more pain, breast tenderness or cystic breast tissue, right? Because estrogen is a growth hormone. The majority of breast cancers are estrogen driven. They're HER positive, which means hormone estrogen receptor positive. You do not want excess estrogens in your body, right? So estrogen goes up, progesterone goes down. It's all driven by this stress hormone called cortisol. So now let's go here. All right, you see this cycle? So stress happens first. Then your body responds to that stress by creating cortisol. Thanks. When that stays elevated for a long time, your body has to make more cortisol. It steals progesterone to do it. So now progesterone goes down. So here comes even more anxiety and you're sleeping less. Okay, so progesterone's down. Well, what does that do? Well, that just perpetuates the cycle, causes more anxiety, more stress, and worse sleep. So when you wake up the next day, what do you instantly feel is more stress. And then it steals progesterone and around and around and around this patient goes. So the low progesterone creating anxiety. Now the estrogen goes up and now the person's gaining weight. They don't feel good. Their energy's down. They can't sleep. They're frustrated, easily triggered. They want to heal. They want to get better. They think to themselves, what's going on? I don't actually know what's going on. If they're in the traditional medical space, oftentimes it's, hey, here's anti-anxiety medication or antidepressant. I'm not anti-medicine, but I'm more so about getting down to the root cause of what's going on. Okay, so we have to address the root cause. We have to understand cortisol at the root of this thing better. Okay, but this is where I'd say the vast majority of the patients that I coach, this cycle is exactly where they're at, and they're at different phases of it. Man, I've seen some really tough cases where this has perpetuated for just a really long time, years, potentially even decade worth of being in this fight or flight response. At some point, estrogen can even just start converting to testosterone in a woman. When that happens, acne across the jawline, more along the lines of PCOS symptoms, blood sugar is really hard to regulate, insulin resistance starts to become part of the story. And it just keeps getting worse. So remember I told you this, I want to help you. I don't want to just tell you how bad everything is. I want to give you guys some practical steps, okay, of how to get better in understanding this. I'm going to start with this off the bat. The most helpful thing that anyone can do is actually understanding, is cortisol the mechanism that started this whole mess? How would I know that? Is you would do cortisol testing. At this point in time, saliva testing or urine testing, or both, I prefer saliva for cortisol, is, in my opinion, the best way to actually figure out what is my cortisol doing. So nowadays, we will run spit, little saliva in a cup multiple times a day. At one point, we were doing 4 times a day, 5 times a day, now 6 times a day, and just in one day. Patients will spit in this little tube. It's very simple. and it will plot your cortisol spikes, your cortisol depletions, and even what happens to you with cortisol in the middle of the night. Incredible. Now you can actually understand not just, hey, is my cortisol spiking or is my cortisol dropping, but when, right? Better data will give you better decision making skills, and that's what saliva testing does for cortisol. Then when it starts coming time to start working on some stuff, right? Stress management, like yes, box breathing techniques. I can demonstrate this. It's really really simple. It's imagine a box, right? And then we'll go with fours. So you're gonna inhale for 4 seconds. You're gonna hold that inhale for 4 seconds. You're gonna exhale for 4 seconds. Hold that exhale for 4 seconds. Good job. Box breathing. A really simple way to start regulating your nervous system. Really, really helpful tool for that sleep. I cannot talk enough about getting adequate sleep. I've done YouTube videos on getting better sleep. Watch them, start applying them. But I'll tell you right now, one of the most helpful things is magnesium. And there's many different kinds of magnesiums out there. Glycinate's really good for your digestive system. What I love for sleep and for anxiety is magnesium l-threonate. It's the only one that can cross the blood-brain barrier. Take it 30 minutes or so, 30 to 60 minutes before bed. You can also take it first thing in the morning. B vitamins, B as in boy, will support your progesterone. Right? B as in boy is good for your brain. It's calming to the brain, anxiolytic, specifically methylated B vitamins if you have what's called MTHFR. Estrogen dominance. If you're someone who has excess estrogen in your body, weight gain's happening, skin is changing, digestive system, you have all the symptoms that I talked about there. One of the things you can start doing right now is just supporting your liver. There's a lot of good foods out there. Your liver is your main detoxification method. Carrot salad is a really healthy and popular one. Dandelion tea, milk thistle, and things like glutathione. Glutathione is your main antioxidant. Your body makes it. You can help it make more by eating dark leafy green vegetables, tomatoes, to help create more glutathione in your body. When we get testing, we will test all the estrogens. Did you know this? There's 3. How many? 3 different types of estrogens, and you detox them slightly different depending on your age and which one is elevated. So before you start going down the road of doing some hardcore estrogen detoxing, it's important to find out what you're actually dealing with. Blood is okay. You can ask your OB to run some estrogen panels. It's very rare that they'll ever run all 3 on blood. It's extremely rare. And then progesterone on blood is such a racket. There's one time where you should be testing your progesterone in via blood. It's at your progesterone peak. If you're running it any other time during your cycle, you're getting bad data. And if you're getting bad data, you're making decisions based on bad data. It's one of the most common things I'll see as an OB who's a great person. They're all great people. Hey, doc, can you run my hormones? Something's off. OB runs it just on a random day during this woman's cycle. Everything comes back, and the doctor goes, hey, everything's normal. Your hormones are normal. So what does that woman feel like? She feels crazy. She's like, I'm not normal. This is not, if this is normal, I don't want to be normal. I'm feeling anxious. I can't sleep. I'm gaining weight when I'm eating good. You can't tell me this is normal. Something's off, doc. And the doctor's like, yeah, no, your labs are normal. So get better labs, get better data. This is what I help patients with all the time. And the reason I'm excited and I get passionate about it is I've just seen it change hundreds of lives, men and women. I've walked through it personally with cortisol, estrogen being off, testosterone in the bottom, and how it affected my relationships, how it affected my own ability to think, to deep think about what's going on in my life, in my marriage, in my family. I was very reactive instead of responsive. I didn't like the way I felt. I didn't like the way I physically felt, nor the way I mentally felt, nor the collateral damage that it was causing in my marriage and my relationships. And so it's really important to balance cortisol. You can feel amazing. Energy can come back. You can lose weight. You can feel more grounded and more centered. And when that happens, here's a little snippet before I go into this. It changes your HRV, meaning it changes your nervous system, meaning it changes your ability to think and process life. Incredible. Incredible. If I can serve you in any way, click the links below. If you want to get cortisol testing, there's ways you can do that through saliva testing. We'll hop on a call and just make sure that's a decent first step. I'm not here to sell you a saliva test. I'm here to get you answers and help to move you in the right direction, so we can find out if cortisol is actually at the root cause of what's going on. Because if it's not, there are other options, but you have to figure out first the target, right? What are we actually dealing with? And then you can start putting in action steps and tools to help build your health back. So I love you guys. This is Dr. Nixon with Twin City Health.